Watch Readers, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is the end of year survey, bookish survey, that I am trying to do at the end of every year. So I did it for last year and now I'm doing it for 2020. This survey was created by Books and Lala, so I will link her channel in the description as well as link her channel in the cards. So without further ado, let's begin. Before we begin, I want to make a disclaimer that in the background, if you hear that wishy-washy sound, it's actually my dishwasher. And I decided to stupidly turn it on and then film this video. So sorry if that irritates you. I try to keep my videos, like the background noise is pretty quiet in my videos, but sometimes life just gets in the way. Anyways, okay, let's start the ball rolling by answering the first question, and that is, how many books have I read this year in 2020? And that would be 90. So I read 90 books this year, which is crazy. That's like, my goal was 100, so I guess I almost met my goal, but 90 is still a lot of books, and that is the goal for next year as well. For 2021 is to read 90 books. Okay, second question is most read genre, and I don't really know how to conclude that. I'm looking at all the books that I kept to the side of me, and from what I can tell, it's a lot of nonfiction is the first one, and contemporary / romancy books. Yeah, that's pretty much a lot of what I see. So that's what I'm going to guess is my most read genre this year, was nonfiction and contemporary / romance. Third question is favorite and least favorite book of the year. My favorite book of the year is a tie from what I'm saying right now. I'm not going to count Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton because that's my favorite book of all time, and it was a reread for me, so I am not counting it because I reread it this year. But my favorite book of this year was Life After Death by Damien Eccles, which is a nonfiction book about his life in prison on death row, and how he was falsely accused of murder simply because he looked satanic during the Satanic Panic. Very interesting read. I really enjoy it, obviously, because it's one of my favorite books this year. The second one I'm going to mention is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is a contemporary romance that takes place in Alaska, and it's hate to love, and it's so cute. Favorite read, lovely. My least favorite read this year is, I'm going to say two. I'm going to say Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Actually, no, because that one was a reread as well. I'm trying not to say any rereads. The first time around, I really liked the book, and then the second time around, I did not like it. Favorite book of this year, my least favorite read of this year would be probably, I know. I made a video of this whole book, but it is the Mavericks Holiday Surprise by Karen Rose Smith. It was entertaining, don't get me wrong. I loved making the video, but it was my least favorite because I didn't care much for the characters and the romance, and okay, the fourth question is most disappointing book of the year, and that would be Douglas Adams's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, I love my science fiction. That's like my top tier, top favorite genre. especially when it takes place in space. But so when I came across Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I was so excited. I thought it was gonna be my favorite book, and yeah, I read it, and it turned out to be so disappointing. Like, not my cup of tea at all. Just not that great. So yeah, that's the most disappointing book that I read this year. Fifth question, most overhyped book of the year. That would be that I read. I don't normally read a lot of overhyped books on BookTube because I try to read books that are not published this year. But I guess like an overhyped book that I read this year, which overhyped doesn't mean to me that it's bad. It just means like it's been talked about a little bit too much. And that would probably be The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Sorry, not Kristen Hannah. Christina Lauren. So I feel like the reason why I'm saying this is overhyped is it's not bad, okay? I actually kept it, to reread. But I feel like it's been talked about so much, especially on the romance side of BookTube, that like I want it to like move out of the limelight so like other books can be talked about, instead of the Honeymooners. Other books like what's a romance that's not like Where the Heart Is by Billy Letts. That book was great. There's a romance recommendation. Okay. Most underhyped book of the year probably would be two things that I haven't really heard of before on BookTube, and that is Girl in the Woods by Aspen Matisse, which is another nonfiction book, but this time it's like her memoir about how she was four-letter word starting with R in college, and her taking a trip for herself on a trail and really like coming to terms with what happened to her and trying to make something of herself, basically. And that book was really good, so I highly recommend. I feel like it's very much underhyped on BookTube. As well as H2O by Virginia Bergen, right? Yeah, Virginia Bergen. That is an apocalyptic novel, so probably not something you want to read during 2020 or during the pandemic, but I read it anyways, and yeah, it's like about how water kills people, like rainwater, and yeah, it takes place during like the apocalypse, not post-apocalyptic or anything, or post. So yeah, that's another underhyped book that I highly recommend that I read this year. Okay. Longest and shortest book of the year. So the longest book that I read is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. It has like 660 pages. So not as long as like the last book in the series, but still pretty hefty, This series, the Tower of Dawn series, is a lot of pages. So yeah, this is the most pages I've read in like the whole year. Okay. I wonder if actually. Wait, I think I take that back, because I think that Empire of Storms is longer. Let me check. Oh shoot, okay, no, I take that back. Actually, Empire of Storms is longer. So, Empire of Storms, not Tower of Dawn, which is the fifth book in the series. So yeah. But honestly, like, all of Sarah J. Maas's books are like pretty hefty, and it's a fantasy series too, so that's even heftier. Okay, the shortest book that I read this year was I Met a Time Traveler in an Antique Land by Connie Willis. I believe that had less than 100 pages in it. Don't quote me on that. I don't own it. I rented it out from the library, but yeah, that was the shortest book that I read this year. And actually, I really enjoyed it, but not enough for me to buy it. So, okay. Biggest reading accomplishment this year. I read some Michael Crichton. So even though Michael Crichton is my favorite author, I've only read like 4 of his books so far. And like I own all of his books now, but like I can't bring it to my heart to like, you know, read another because I want to experience it for the first time. But I'm really trying to hammer down on reading most of his books. So, you know, I can enjoy them when I reread them. But anyway, so I read 3 of his books. So I read Jurassic Park, which this is not my first read this year. I read it actually, now it's I believe 3 times already. So this was my 3rd time reading it. Still as good as the first time that I read it, if not better. And yeah. I'm going to be making a Michael Crichton video next year, so look for that. It's probably going to be in March, so yeah. And then I read these for the first time. Actually, I read 5 of his books. Yeah. Okay, so but I read 3 this year. So Jurassic Park, The Terminal Man, which was really good, and Congo, which was not as good as The Terminal Man and Jurassic Park, but still pretty good. So, yeah, that's a good reading accomplishment. I also am almost finished with the Throne of Glass series, which is another reading accomplishment. Fantasy is not my forte. This is the first fantasy noveling thing, the first series that I've ever read, and I'm still enjoying it. I'm on the last book, and yeah, pretty hefty. So those are 2 reading accomplishments this year. Also, I read 90 books, which is crazy. Okay, a book that made me cry this year would be The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is such a good book, and like just the ending and stuff, it's very dark. It's post-apocalyptic, and it's very dark. It's very just emotional, and just a really great read. So I highly recommend that. That made me laugh this year. There's many, but I'm going to name 1. I take that back. I'm actually going to name 2. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to name that made me laugh was Eliza Schlessinger's Girl Logic, The Genius in the Absurdity. Eliza Schlesinger is my favorite comedian. She is hilarious, and there was some really great things said in here, and there was some just made me laugh moments. Actually didn't realize it, but I kind of annotated it. I don't think you can see. Just 3 times. Yeah, so I don't know. It's great. So this made me laugh because Eliza Schlesinger is so funny. Okay. And then the next book that made me laugh, which isn't really, I don't think was meant for making me laugh, but still made me laugh, was I Am Haunted by Zach Bagans, Living Life Through the Dead. Zach Bagans, I mean, I had some great times with this book. I even made a video this year, just going through chapter by chapter of this book, so very spoiler filled, but a fun time nonetheless. Believe that one is 40 minutes long, so anyways, yeah, those are two books that made me laugh this year. Okay, so a new favorite author this year would be K.A. Tucker. No. A new favorite author this year would probably be Cormac McCarthy, because I really liked his writing style in The Road. And it was just so great. Really put an image in my head and just was so beautiful. Also, Kurt Vonnegut, as well, is another new favorite author. I'm guessing these two are going to be favorites. I've only read one book by them, but they were great books. They were great reads, and yeah. If you're curious, I read Slaughterhouse-Five this year by Kurt Vonnegut, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, a new least favorite author this year is Nicholas Sparks. I really tried. I read 10 books of his this year, and I made a video of all of them, but you know, he's not an author I can really get behind, like, because I don't really like his writing. Not him personally. These are not, like, personal accounts or anything. These are just my opinions about certain authors, like Nicholas Sparks, that I tried. I read 10 of his books, and, yeah. I think I kept just one, and that is Safe Haven, because I did kind of sort of enjoy that. I am planning on rereading it sometime not in the near future, because I have other books to read. Okay. Alright, so here is like some extra questions and bookish stats for me personally. So these are not part of the questions that are originally from Books and Lala. So yeah, these are just what I added on my own. So, did I meet my Goodreads goal this year? So, no, as I mentioned, I did not. My goal was to get 100 books read this year, and I only got 90, which is still amazing, but I did not meet it. So, next year, for 2021, my Goodreads goal is to read 90 books. So if you want to follow me on Goodreads, then link in the description. I have my link tree, so I have my Instagram, my Goodreads, and this YouTube channel in the link tree. Yeah, okay. So bookish stats. When I do this, I usually do in this little notebook that I have, that I got for my birthday, all the just tally marks and stuff of the bookish stats. So I tally all the books that I read that I did not own, that I kept, and that I sent to the Goodwill. So the books that I did not own that I read was 19. So these could be library books or bookish, like school books that I needed to read for school. And yeah, 19 out of 90 is not too bad, you know. At least I read, can't do math, 71? Nicole, correct me if I'm right, or if I'm wrong, whatever. At least I read that many of books I don't own, or that I own. The books that I sent to Goodwill that I read and then I decided not to keep and reread was 32, which that's pretty good too. And the books that I decided to keep was 39, which is still amazing. So I also tally my ratings, so I tally not rated because of their school books. And most of them that I not rated was Shakespeare plays, because I just didn't feel like rating it. Okay, and that was four books that I didn't rate this year. Then I tally 1 star, which means I hated it, and I only rated 8 books this year, 1 stars. So that's pretty good. I 2 stars for the rating is I thought it was okay, and I rated 19 books this year 2 stars, which honestly, I guess that's okay, but also, like, I probably should lower that down. But, you know, it wasn't my choice, okay? Just the books that I read sucked, like 19 of them. And then the books I rated 3 stars, there was 22. And that means that I liked it. So that's pretty good. Books that I read that I rated 4 stars, which means really good, I thought they were really good, was 32, which 10 more from 22. So that's pretty good. And then books I rated 5 star, which means I loved it, was 5. Yeah, I felt like I was being, like, too lenient on giving 5 stars, which means, like, I absolutely loved them. So yeah, that's why there's less. And then books that I DNF'd, and that was 8. Not too bad, you know, but not too good, because I don't really like DNFing books unless I absolutely have to, and I absolutely can't stand the books, so yeah. Again, I read 90 books, and the total physical pages that I counted, Goodreads could say something else, I counted 26,332 pages that I read this year, and that's not including audiobook pages or, just audiobook pages, or, like, you know, my Hoopla app that I use to read library books this year. Okay, I also want to mention the books per each month that were my favorite. Okay, so in January, my favorite book was Throne of Glass that I read, and I read 5 books. February, I read 6 books, and my favorite was Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. March, I read 8 books, and my favorite was The Norse Myths. It's still my favorite, and it's a library copy, but I did decide to rebuy it. Okay, and then April, I read 10 books, and my favorite was Things to Do When It's Raining by Marissa Stapley. Still pretty good. May, I read 11 books, and my favorite was I Am Haunted by Zach Bagans. Very entertaining, like I said. June, I read 7 books, and my favorite was The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. That was really good. I like her writing. July, I read 10 books, and my favorite was Life After Death by Damien Eccles, a book I mentioned in this video. August, I read 7 books, and my favorite was H2O by Virginia Bergen. September, I read 6 books, and let's see, my favorite was The Road by Cormac McCarthy. October, I read 3 books, which, and my favorite was The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. November, I read 8 books, and my favorite was Fangirl by Rainbow Brow, which was a reread for me. In December, I read 7 books, and my favorite was The Terminal Man by Michael Crichton. Yeah, okay. I've rambled on enough this video, okay? But at least, like, you know, hopefully you found this video very entertaining. Before I go well, this video is going to greet you in 2021, but I'm filming it 2020, the end of December. Anyways, okay. So, yeah, anyways, I want to say thank you so much for liking my video, liking my liking my channel enough that you actually want to subscribe. I gained so many subscribers this year, like I think I started this year with like 10, I think, maybe a little less than that, and I got 36 subscribers. 36 of you guys like me enough to subscribe, and that is just crazy, honestly. I want to thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me. When I created this booktube channel, I didn't like necessarily create it because, oh, I want to get famous, you know. I could do like a beauty channel for that, you know. The reason why I created this channel was because I wanted to create a booktube community where we could all just talk about books. Initially, when I did start this channel, I had no clue what I wanted to do, but I've always wanted to do a booktube, ever since I was like first introduced to it in 2015, so when I was 15, yeah, so thank you so much, and I'm just so proud that, you know, you guys became retro readers, you know, and hopefully in 2021, you guys stick around and we get more retro readers, and hopefully, you know, you like my videos more, because I know this year has just not been the greatest with video content, but it's gonna change. So anyways, yeah, thank you so much, like I said, for sticking around, subscribing, liking my videos, commenting. Thank you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in 2021, obviously. Happy New Year. Thanks for sticking around. And in the before I go, okay. If you want to not subscribe. Well, if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe, but if you want to follow me on Instagram, like I said, my links are in the description, but this year, I'm going to actually be posting on my Instagram, like, stories, basically, every first of the month, my schedule for videos on this channel. So if you want to follow my Instagram, then link in the description. You guys can be updated on what I'm going to be filming, what I'm going to be posting. Disclaimer, maybe sometimes I might change it up a little bit, like with what I'm filming, but I'm going to try to stick to the filming videos, you know. I just sometimes, like, when I see something and I want to film it, I just film it, you know. Yeah, so anyways, if you want to follow, go ahead. No one's forcing you to, though, so yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a good day, and goodbye 2020.